Millionaire bet poor waitress she couldn't handle one night with him. She proved him wrong. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now, let's get into today's story. Millionaire bet poor waitress. She couldn't handle one night with him. She proved him wrong. The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor of the five-star restaurant, sending crystal shards everywhere and silence rippling through the dining room. Sage Ramsay stood frozen, tray trembling in her hands, staring at the mess she'd just created at the feet of the most intimidating man she'd ever served. Drake Silverton, 36, tech millionaire, and according to every tabloid in the city, Manhattan's most eligible bachelor and biggest playboy. He sat at his usual corner table, surrounded by business associates, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Sage made in 6 months. And she'd just dumped an entire tray of champagne directly onto his Prada shoes. "I'm so sorry," Sage stammered, dropping to her knees to gather the glass pieces, her face burning with humiliation. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Silverton. I'll pay for the dry cleaning. Stop." Drake's voice was cool, controlled. He stood, looking down at her kneeling at his feet, and Sage saw something flicker in his dark eyes. Amusement, maybe, or interest. "Stand up. You're going to cut yourself." Sage stood shakily, aware that everyone in the restaurant was watching. Her manager was already rushing over, his face purple with rage. "Miss Ramsay, you're fired," he hissed. "Pack your things and leave immediately." "Mr. Silverton, the restaurant will of course cover all damages." "She's not fired," Drake interrupted, still looking at Sage with that unsettling intensity. "It was an accident. These things happen." "But Mr. Silverton, I said she's not fired. Actually, I'd like her to serve my table for the rest of the evening. Personally." The manager looked like he might argue, then clearly thought better of contradicting their wealthiest customer. "Of course, sir. Whatever you prefer." Die. For the next 2 hours, Sage served Drake's table with shaking hands, hyper-aware of his gaze, following her every movement. She was 28, working 3 jobs to support her younger sister through nursing school, and the last thing she needed was attention from a millionaire playboy who probably saw her as entertainment. When the dinner finally ended and Drake's associates left, he remained seated, gesturing for Sage to approach. "Sit," he said, indicating the chair across from him. "I'm working, Mr. Silverton. I can't. Your shift ends in 10 minutes. I checked. Sit." Sage sat reluctantly, confused and nervous. Up close, Drake was even more intimidating. Sharp features, dark hair with silver at the temples despite his age, eyes that seemed to see right through her. "You're terrified of me," he observed. "You're Drake Silverton. Everyone's terrified of you." "Why?" "I'm just a man who happens to have money. You're a man who happens to have $50 million and a reputation for eating people alive in business deals. That's not just anything." Drake smiled, actually smiled, and it transformed his entire face. "Fair point. But Sage, I didn't keep you here to frighten you. I kept you here because you interest me." "You how?" Sage asked suspiciously. "You didn't grovel. When you spilled that champagne, you apologized, but you didn't beg or make excuses. And when I looked at you, you looked back. Most people can't hold my gaze for more than 3 seconds. You didn't look away once. Should I have? Most people think so. They find me intimidating. But you looked at me like I was just another customer. I find that refreshing. "What do you want, Mr. Silverton?" Sage asked bluntly. "I'm exhausted. I have another job to get to in an hour, and I don't have time for whatever game this is." "Another job? How many do you work?" "3. Waitressing here for dinner service, overnight stocking at a grocery store, and weekend shifts at a coffee shop. Between them, I make just enough to cover rent and my sister's tuition. That's not living, that's barely surviving." "It's my life," Sage said, standing. "Now, if you'll excuse me—" "I have a proposition," Drake said, his voice stopping her. "One that could solve your financial problems permanently." Sage turned slowly. "I'm not sleeping with you for money, if that's what you're suggesting. That's not what I'm suggesting, though I appreciate your directness." Drake leaned back in his chair. "Here's my offer. Spend one night with me. Not sexually, just one evening. Accompany me to a charity gala tomorrow night. Play the role of my date convincingly enough to make my ex-girlfriend jealous. Do that successfully, and I'll pay you $25,000. Sage stared at him. "You're joking." "I'm completely serious. 25,000 for approximately 6 hours of your time. All you have to do is wear a dress I provide, smile at the right moments, and pretend you're captivated by me. Can you do that?" "Why me?" "You could hire a professional actress or ask one of the society women who probably throw themselves at you constantly. Because actresses look like actresses, and society women want more than money. They want the relationship. You, on the other hand, clearly don't want anything to do with me beyond a paycheck. That authenticity is exactly what I need. My ex will never believe I'm interested in someone who's obviously only there for money. The challenge is what will sell it. This is insane. This is business. I need to convince my ex-girlfriend that I've moved on so she'll stop showing up at my events and making scenes. You need money. It's a transaction. Do we have a deal?" Sage thought about her sister's tuition bill, about the rent that was due in 3 days, about the exhaustion of working herself to death across 3 jobs. $25,000 would change everything. One night. 6 hours maximum. No touching beyond what's necessary to sell the relationship, and I want half the money up front to prove this isn't a scam. "Deal." Drake pulled out his phone. "What's your bank account information? I'll transfer $12,500 right now." "You're serious," Sage said, her heart racing. "I'm always serious about business. And make no mistake, Sage, this is business. Pure transaction. Nothing more." The next evening, Sage stood in her tiny apartment bathroom, staring at herself in the mirror. The dress Drake had sent over was breathtaking, midnight blue silk that hugged her curves, with a slit up one thigh that felt scandalously high. Professional hair and makeup people had arrived at her apartment that afternoon, transforming her from exhausted waitress into someone who could plausibly date a millionaire. The car service picked her up at 7, delivering her to Drake's penthouse. When she stepped out of the elevator directly into his apartment, she found him waiting in a perfect tuxedo, looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine. "You look incredible," he said, and something in his voice made Sage's skin heat. "You clean up okay yourself," she replied, trying to keep things light. "So what's the game plan? How do we sell this?" "Simple. We act like a couple who can't keep their hands off each other. Subtle touches, meaningful glances, the appearance of chemistry. My ex, Vivian, will be watching for any sign this is fake. We have to be convincing. I'm a waitress, not an actress. Then don't act. Just respond naturally. When I touch you, lean into it. When I look at you, hold my gaze. Pretend you're actually attracted to me. Shouldn't be too hard. I'm objectively attractive." Sage rolled her eyes. "Your ego is showing, Mr. Silverton." "It's Drake. If we're supposed to be dating, you should use my first name. And yes, my ego is massive. It's one of my best features." Despite herself, Sage laughed. "You're ridiculous." "So I've been told. Now, shall we practice? We need to look comfortable with each other." Drake stepped closer, his hand settling on Sage's waist. The touch sent electricity through her, and she had to remind herself this was just business, just a transaction. "Like this," Drake murmured, his other hand coming up to cup her face. "I touch you like you're precious. You look at me like I'm the only person in the room. Can you do that?" Sage looked up into Drake's eyes and found herself caught. This close, she could see flecks of gold in the dark brown, could smell his expensive cologne, could feel the heat radiating from his body. "Yes," she whispered, "I can do that." "Good." But Drake didn't step back. Instead, his thumb traced her jawline, his eyes dropping to her mouth. "We should also be prepared in case we need to kiss, to sell it convincingly." "That wasn't part of the deal," Sage protested, even as her heart raced. "Consider it an amendment for authenticity. Unless you're not comfortable." Sage grabbed his tie and pulled him down, kissing him with more confidence than she felt. If she was going to do this, she was going to commit. Drake made a sound of surprise, then his arms came around her, pulling her closer as he deepened the kiss. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Drake's eyes were dark, with something that looked like genuine desire. "That was," he started. "Practice," Sage finished firmly, stepping back. "Just practice. For tonight. Nothing more." "Right. Nothing more." The gala was everything Sage expected. Excessive wealth on display, champagne flowing freely, people who'd never worried about money pretending to care about charity. Drake kept his hand on her waist possessively, introduced her to everyone as "my Sage," and played the role of smitten boyfriend perfectly, and Sage played her part. She leaned into his touches, laughed at his jokes, looked at him like he hung the moon. It should have felt fake, but somewhere between the second glass of champagne and Drake's whispered commentary about the ridiculous people around them, Sage realized she wasn't acting anymore. She was actually enjoying herself, enjoying him. "There she is," Drake murmured in Sage's ear, his breath warm against her skin. "Vivian. 3 o'clock, red dress, looking like she wants to murder you." Sage glanced over and saw a stunning woman glaring at them with undisguised hatred. "She's beautiful. Adrille. She's toxic. We dated for 6 months. She wanted the lifestyle, not me. When I ended it, she couldn't accept it. Hence this performance. Well, she definitely looks jealous. Mission accomplished?" "Almost. We need to seal it." Drake pulled Sage onto the dance floor as a slow song started. "Dance with me. Make it look real." Sage moved into his arms, and they swayed together. This close, with Drake's arms around her and his heartbeat steady under her palm, Sage felt something shift. This wasn't just a transaction anymore, at least not for her. "Sage," Drake said quietly, "I need to tell you something." "What?" "This stopped being fake for me about 2 hours ago, maybe even yesterday when you looked at me in that restaurant. I was just another annoying customer instead of Drake Silverton, millionaire. You don't see my money or my reputation. You see me, and I don't think I can go back to pretending that doesn't matter." Sage's breath caught. "Drake, this is just for tonight. You said so yourself. Pure transaction." "I was lying to myself. Sage, I've dated plenty of women, models, actresses, heiresses. All of them wanted something from me. Money, status, connections. You're the first person who actively doesn't want to be here, who's only tolerating me for a paycheck, and somehow that's the most attractive thing anyone's ever done. You challenge me. You're not impressed by wealth. You work 3 jobs and put your sister through school and still manage to look at me like I'm not special. That's incredibly rare." "You are special," Sage admitted, "but Drake, we're from different worlds. After tonight, you'll go back to your penthouse and your $50 million, and I'll go back to stocking grocery store shelves at midnight. This can't work. What if I don't want it to end tonight? What if I want to keep seeing you, really seeing you, not as a transaction?" "Why would you want that?" "Because in one evening you've made me laugh more than anyone has in months. Because you called me ridiculous and meant it. Because you kissed me like you meant it, and I can't stop thinking about what it would be like if that wasn't practice. Sage, give me a chance. Let this be more than one night." Before Sage could answer, Vivian appeared beside them, her smile sharp and dangerous. "Drake, darling, aren't you going to introduce me to your date?" "Vivian, this is Sage. Sage, Vivian, my ex." "Charmed," Vivian said, her tone indicating she was anything but. "Tell me, Sage, how did you meet Drake? You don't look like his usual type." "We met when she dumped champagne all over me," Drake said smoothly, pulling Sage closer. "Best accident of my life." "How quaint. And what do you do, Sage? Model? Actress?" "I'm a waitress," Sage said, lifting her chin defiantly. "I work 3 jobs, actually. Waitressing, grocery stocking, and coffee shop shifts. Nothing glamorous, just honest work." Vivian's laugh was cruel. "Oh, Drake, really? You're dating the help now? How delightfully bohemian of you, though I suppose it's cheaper than your usual expensive tastes." "Careful, Vivian," Drake's voice went cold. "You're making assumptions that will embarrass you." "Am I? Come now, we all know what this is. She's clearly here for your money. How much did you pay her to play dress-up for the evening?" Sage felt fury rise, but before she could respond, Drake spoke. "You're right, I did pay her. $25,000 to accompany me tonight. Want to know why? Because Sage is the only honest person I've met in years. She doesn't want my money beyond what she's earned. She doesn't want my connections or my status. She just wants to support her sister and live her life. That authenticity is worth more than anything you ever offered, Vivian." He turned to Sage. "And you're also wrong about us being from different worlds. Yes, I have money and you don't. But that's circumstantial, not fundamental. What matters is that you make me want to be more than my bank account. You make me want to earn your respect instead of buying it. That's revolutionary for someone like me." Vivian made a disgusted sound and stalked away. Sage stared at Drake, her heart pounding. "Did you mean that?" she asked. "Every word. Sage, I know this started as a transaction, but it's become so much more. At least for me. If you want to take your 25,000 and never see me again, I'll understand. But if there's any chance you feel this too, any chance we could build something real, I want to try." Sage thought about the practical reasons to say no. The class difference, the inevitable complications, the risk of heartbreak. But she also thought about how Drake made her laugh, how he defended her to his ex, how he looked at her like she mattered beyond her ability to serve his needs. "I feel it too," she admitted, "and it terrifies me. But Drake, I won't be your project. I won't let you rescue me from my life with your money. If we do this, we do it as equals, even if our bank accounts aren't equal." "Partners," Drake agreed. "No rescuing, no fixing. Just 2 people who found each other in the most unlikely circumstances and decided to see where it goes." "Then yes, let's try. But Drake, if this crashes and burns, I'm keeping the 25,000. "Wouldn't dream of taking it back," Drake said, and kissed her. 6 months later, Sage had quit 2 of her 3 jobs. Not because Drake paid her bills, she'd refused that offer multiple times, but because he'd helped her get a better-paying position at a non-profit he supported. She still worked, still maintained her independence, but now she had time to actually live. Drake had changed too. Less time at exclusive clubs, more time at Sage's tiny apartment that he claimed was cozier than his penthouse. He'd met her sister, helped her study for nursing exams, and genuinely seemed to enjoy being part of their small family. "I have a confession," Drake said one evening as they sat on Sage's worn couch eating takeout. "What's that?" "The bet, that first night. I told you it was to make Vivian jealous. That was partially true, but mostly I just wanted an excuse to spend time with you without admitting I was interested. The bet was me being too proud to just ask you on a date. You paid me $25,000 because you were too proud to ask me out like a normal person. When you put it like that, it sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You're ridiculous. And yet you love me anyway," Drake said, pulling her close. I do, Sage admitted. Against all logic and reason, I absolutely do. A year after that first gala, Drake proposed. Not at some expensive restaurant or exotic location, but in Sage's apartment, surrounded by the life she'd built independently of his wealth. Sage Ramsey, you crashed into my life literally, champagne and all. You challenged every assumption I had about relationships and worth. You taught me that authenticity matters more than appearances, that hard work has value beyond profit margins, and that love has nothing to do with bank accounts. Will you marry me? Yes, Sage said through happy tears, but I'm keeping my job. I wouldn't dream of asking you to quit, though I reserve the right to occasionally bring you lunch at work. And I reserve the right to occasionally make you eat at diners instead of five-star restaurants. Deal. Their wedding was a blend of both worlds, Drake's wealthy associates and Sage's working-class family, expensive champagne and cheap beer, designer clothes and thrift store finds. And when they danced, Sage thought about that first night, the bet that had brought them together, the transaction that had become the love of her life. Remember when you bet I couldn't handle one night with you? She asked Drake as they swayed together. I remember you proving me spectacularly wrong, Drake replied. You didn't just handle one night, you've handled every night since. Sage, you're the strongest person I know, and I'm lucky you chose to spend your nights with me instead of working yourself to death across 3 jobs. Best bet I ever took, Sage said, kissing him. Because sometimes the most unlikely bets lead to the most beautiful outcomes. Sometimes a millionaire and a waitress find common ground beyond money. And sometimes what starts as pure transaction becomes the purest love. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Sage and Drake's bet-turned-love story touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.